all of those that can't make it and watch it back. Okay. So we're talking about the color match questionnaire, some of the things to consider, some of the things to include, the questions to include in your questionnaire. And like I said, everybody's is going to be different because everybody kind of requires to know different things when they're color matching somebody. But we'll just kind of talk about it and keep it conversational. Okay, can everybody see the screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So why do we need an online color match form? So for me, this is huge because there's actually more reasons than just color matching them, okay? So first of all, this is a way for us to funnel new customers and potential new customers into our email address, our email list, kind of get to know new people, is great practice. For those customers that don't actually end up buying, it's really good practice. It's a way for us to store their info. So, you know, let's say they do buy, it's always nice, like sometimes I'll get somebody a month or two after they buy and they're like, this isn't working for my melasma or whatever, and I can go back into my database and I can pull up their form that they filled out and I can look at their pictures again, and you know, I can kind of analyze that rather than asking them for another picture or whatever. So it's a great way to store their info. We can actually go in with some of the information we get from their color match form and create them an account, and we'll go into that a little bit later. And then obviously getting the necessary answers to the questions we have to correctly color match them. So an online color match form is great for those people that you can't meet with in person. And right now with COVID, it's especially great because a lot of us are not doing any in-person color matches. Okay, so in my conversations with some of the other leaders, these are the most used platforms that I've seen used for the color match questionnaire. So Jotform, Typeform, Google Forms, and then if you have a website, you can actually include a questionnaire on your website. And we'll go into depth a little bit more on these, but those are just some of the other, those are the most, I've even looked at some of the other artists, and these are the ones that have been the use the most. Are there any others that you guys have heard of or maybe that you use that aren't listed here? Okay, so let's talk about Google Docs for a minute. Now, actually, I used Google Docs for a really long time when I first became an artist for my color match questionnaire. So I'm just gonna kind of highlight what I know about these. I personally use Jotform now, but we'll just kind of talk about a few things that they do and a few things that they don't do. So Google Docs is, you know, we all have Google accounts. It's right there. It's free. There's unlimited space. It's pretty easy to use. I don't believe that you can attach pictures unless you have a Google account yourself. So if you are having people fill out your form and you're asking them to attach a picture, if they don't have a Google account, then they're not able to do that. And then you can make it pretty, but very limited. There's not a lot of design options for you to use on Google Docs. But hey, it does the job, it works. So that's an option for you to use. Jotform, like I said, is the one that I use. So it is free to use until you get 500 submissions or up to 100 megabytes in space. So there has been times where I'm still actually using the free version of this. I will get an email that says your space is becoming limited, and what I'll do is I'll just go back into my database, my archive of all the submissions that I got, and I will delete some of the older ones to make room for the new ones. So that's an option that you can do, or you can just pay for the upgraded version, which I'll probably have to do at some point. It's very user-friendly in my experience with it. It's easy to work with. You can search templates to use. So this has actually been really helpful. I know, especially for my team, is you can go into the template section and you can actually type in mascara color match form, and it'll bring up lots of other artists' forms that you can tweak or that you can use. So that's been really helpful, I know, for some of the girls. And then there's lots of ways that you can make it cute. There's lots of design options. There's like lots of fonts. You can do them all on one. You can do a questionnaire with all the questions on one page, or you can do like one question and then you click the arrow and it switches to another question. So just like lots of little things like that. So those are the two that I've used. I'm just going off of what I've heard on the next two. So if you guys have any experience with this and want to chime in, feel free. Okay, so for Typeform, it is also free, but you're not able to upload photos unless you're paying for the upgraded version. And I think I'm aware that they don't actually send you an email when a form is submitted. So with JotForm, whenever somebody fills out my form, I will get an email in my inbox that says, so-and-so just filled out your form, so that I don't have to just go check it on my own, okay? I don't believe that Typeform gives you that option. Typeform is user-friendly, and I believe you can search templates on it, but I'm not sure. And there are some design limitations, but more design options than, say, Google Docs. Okay, and if you have a website, then, you know, the benefit there is that you own your forms, you own the submissions that come in. You know, if JotForm were to crash one day or, you know, stop me from using it, I don't own all those things. I won't be able to get on. But if you have your own website, you own it. There are not going to be any space restrictions. As far as design limitations goes, I don't know. But if you are really good with web developing and stuff, then that's probably going to be easy for you. But for somebody like me who does not know the back end of websites or whatnot, it's going to be harder. And of course, you must have a website first and able to have forms on your website. Are there any questions, or is there any input there if any of you use any of those platforms that you want to add? Okay, I just don't want to miss anybody. If you have something to say, just unmute yourself. Okay, what should we include? And this is really the part that I'm excited about, and I think the part that's going to be most helpful. What are the questions that we should put on our color match questionnaires? So really, this is totally up to you, right? I like to think of it as, what questions do I find myself asking when I'm doing an in-person color match? There's probably more than you think. And how many questions are too many questions to include on your color match form, right? You don't want to overwhelm people, but really what we're doing on for an in-person color match is we can't see them in person. We can't be there in person to try all these colors. So we are really just trying to get all the information we can. And so if you look at it that way versus, oh my gosh, look at all these questions I have to fill out, it's really like, hey, we really want to get these colors right. So these are the questions we're going to ask, okay? So you need to decide how many questions is good for you. I'm just going to include some questions that I've thought of that work for me, and then we can talk about them afterwards also. So first of all, their full name. I like having their full name because if I'm going in to create them an account, I want their full name, right? This last week, I actually had a girl kind of shortcut through the system, and she put C as her first name, P for her last name, and immediately I knew that something was up, and it turns out she was just using me to get a second opinion from another artist, which, hey, you know what? I'm happy to do, but I like to get their full name so I can go in and create them accounts so that I can get to know them better, and just it's more personal when you have their full name. So in some of those platforms, you're able to make questions required, right? Which for me, I make every single question on my color match form required because I want to know every single one of those answers. So with the full name for sure, get their full name. and their email address. You know, one of you last week, we kind of touched on this in our brainstorm Zoom call. We kind of touched on the color match a little bit, and somebody mentioned that they get their social media info when they're filling out their questionnaire. And I like that a lot because guess what? Sometimes our responses go to their spam email and they never get it. And then you follow up with them, they still never get it. And so I really like that because then you can just go follow up with them, say on Instagram, if you have their Instagram handle, you're able to go follow up with them, say, hey, I just emailed you your response. And so I think getting their Instagram handle is a really great idea. Plus, you know what? On Instagram, for me, that's where I create my relationships. And so these people that are filling out my form, I want to create a relationship with them and build that trust. Okay, oops. Okay, skin type. I like to know their skin type. I like to know if they're oily, if they're dry, if they're combo, because that helps me know, like, hey, do I suggest Vanilla Dust if you're oily? The Stay Spray, like that helps me know how to really navigate through their makeover, essentially, if I'm in person with them. So I like to know their skin type. And I also like to know what they're currently using for their makeup, right? Because if they are currently using powder and they're switching over to cream, there's a wall, there's like a barrier there that we really need to be telling them certain things about. Because when you're coming from powder to cream, you're so used to looking matte that this cream is, you don't want them to, you want to kind of warn them a little bit and give them this information that they need to know. So are they currently using liquid? If they are, hey, guess what? You are gonna love the coverage that you get from this cream, but it's not as heavy as liquid. So I like to know what they're currently using so I can kind of, I can kind of navigate around that a little bit. What kind of coverage do they like? This is something I didn't put on my color match form for a really long time, but now that it's on there, it's so helpful to me. Because if they like a full coverage, guess what? I am going to suggest the Buffy brush. Okay, if they like a light coverage, then I would consider the B squared brush, or, so it kind of gives me an idea of what to kind of suggest, what shades even to suggest. So that's a really good, where is my mouse? Oh my gosh, okay, sorry, let's keep going. What do they want to get? So this is another thing I just recently put on my color match form because I like to know are they only interested in getting the 3D foundation? Do they only want a highlight, a contour, a blush, and an illuminator? Or do they want a whole new system for their makeup bag? Do they want the eyeshadows? Do they want the skincare? Do they, So if I ask them on their color match form, hey, what are you looking to add to your makeup? And they say, I want the foundation and maybe something for, acne, or that's like a bad example, but some people will say, I want a few new eyeshadows. So it's nice to know, because then you're not like suggesting all these things in your response and overwhelming them if they only came for the foundation. Or you're not only suggesting the foundation when they actually really want all this other things. You could be selling way more products to them. Does that make sense? So I like to know kind of I like to get a feel of kind of why they're there and what they want. Obviously, makeup concerns and problems that they face. I kind of put the question like, hey, what kind of problems are you facing with your makeup right now? And they'll usually tell me, I have melasma, or rosacea, I can't cover up my red, or I get acne breakouts. So I like to know what they're kind of facing, so I can like personalize that response and say, hey, I have melasma too. This works really great. So that's really good to know. Okay. Some people in their color match form simply just ask the question, hey, I can set up an account for you. Do you want me to set you up an account? Yes or no? By setting up an account, I can create you in a cart. It makes checkout super easy or whatnot. So you can actually, if you feel uncomfortable just going in and creating them an account without asking, which that's actually what I have ended up doing, and it's worked really well. But if you don't feel comfortable about that, you could ask them if you want them to set, if they want you to set up an account for them. That's a question you can include. Okay, obviously we need a picture, right? Picture without makeup. Make sure they know the criteria for taking a good picture, good lighting, all that stuff. Clean camera. You guys, I have the most clear instructions on my actual form before they send me their picture, and I still get really crummy pictures. You'll always get those kinds of pictures, but hey, at least if you include the instructions, then the chances of that happening are lower. So I like to have a picture of them without their makeup on, but I also like to have a picture of them with their makeup on, because this kind of just validates my recommendations. If I see that with makeup on, they like to be a little bit darker, then I'm validated in my choice that I gave them a little bit darker shade, which is what we like to do with mascara, because shading darker is always better than shading lighter. But I just like to get a feel of how they wear their makeup too. Do they like eyeliner on the bottom? If they do, I'm definitely going to suggest the eyeliner too. So I just like to get a feel of how they wear their makeup. Some people ask the question, would you like to host a party? Or let me create you in a party link, because this way, you're going to be spending a lot more on your first purchase. So since you're doing that, let me set you up a party link or rewards link, and then that way when you hit this threshold, you're going to start earning free credit. Would you like me to set one up for you? Yes or no? That way I know when I'm sending her response back, if I should include my party link with all the items that I'm suggesting to her, or her.
Where's that other thing that takes sea batteries?
I like to do that ahead of time so that I know to go create her own party link and give her recommendations with her party links there. Does that make sense? That's something I actually did not do for a long time also. But when people see that they can purchase things under their own link now, and their first initial purchase is going to be their biggest investment probably, then they're let's say they're $180 on their first purchase, and they're only $20 away from $200, which is going to give them $20 in free credit as soon as they hit that. Then they might say, oh, you know what, let me hurry, I'm going to add something that's at least $20 more to this order so I can at least earn that much more in party credit. Oh, I think I totally botched how I just explained that, but you get the gist. More people than you think will want their own party link. This is something that you might want to consider too, is just a simple question. Would you possibly be interested in the artist program? Yes or no? It doesn't have to be this big long thing. You might get a yes, and then that's somebody you can follow up with in the future when you want to add people to your team, or if they say no, fine. But that's a fun question to add. One thing I ask too is, have you used this makeup before? I have found that there's a lot of people, especially lately, that have been coming to me wanting different makeup suggestions. So here's the thing. If somebody's going to come to me for a color match, and I am going to color match them, and I'm going to write out all the details, I want their business, right? I'm not going to do that for free. If they mark that they've used this makeup before, I'm going to follow up with them before I even go through all the trouble of writing out their response. And I'm going to say, hey, it looks like you used this makeup before. Did you not like it? Did you get the wrong colors? If you got the wrong colors, what colors are you using that gives me the idea of, hey, yeah, those are the wrong colors for you. You are not those colors. Or, you know, it validates my choice again of what colors I would suggest to them. But then I just, you know, I just very nicely say, you know, are you personally tied to your artist? Like, are you, you know, what's the deal there? Because I don't want to go through all the trouble if she's just going to go back to her artist and buy. I've gotten responses before like, oh, my artist actually, she's not an artist anymore. Great, let me help you. Yes, I will do it. Or, you know, yeah, I did get the wrong colors. They're not working for me or whatever. And then what I'll do in that case is I will just write out a really quick, hey, yeah, you're not Amber. You should actually probably be Sandy. And then I'll include my party link in that email and just hope she buys through my party link, and then I get her sell for that time, whatever. But I try not to spend as much time on those people because, you know, I don't want to steal somebody else's customer. But at the same time, if she's coming to me, I believe that if I'm going to go through the work, then I should at least get the sell for that one time. So that's kind of what I do there. Going back to creating them an account, actually, you know what, let's talk about that in just a second. I also like to know how they found me because, you know, some of us are on Facebook, some of us are on Instagram, some of us, some people come to us because of referral from a friend. I just like to know that so I know kind of where I'm putting my efforts in and what's paying off. And their city and state. Okay, so this is what we're gonna talk about, creating them an account. So the reason why I like to know what city and state they live in is because I like to create them an account. I'm just gonna stop the screen share for a second so that I like to talk to you and see you. Okay, so when you create an account for somebody on Maskera, it asks for their name, their email address, it asks for their address, it asks for their phone number, and then, you know, creating them a username and a password. So if I already have, first of all, if they're filling out my color match form, I know that they are interested in buying Maskera Saint anyway, right? So I know that they're gonna be okay. I'm just assuming that they're gonna be okay with me creating them an account. I did not do this for the longest time, and my conversion rate of people that filled out my color match questionnaire and people that actually ended up buying was so low. It was frustrating to me. So I started talking with other leaders and found out that they just create an account for them. And since doing that, my conversion rate has gone up a lot, and it's made me so happy. So I suggest doing that, you know, depending on if you feel comfortable or not with that. But like I said, they're coming to you, they're interested in it anyway. So if you have their first name, their last name, you already have their email address because you're gathering it from your questionnaire, and their city and state, then that gives you enough information where you could at least go in and create them an account. Now it does ask for their phone number and their address, but you can just add zeros for that time being to get that account set up. And then when they go in and they check out, then, you know, they're gonna go in and they're gonna edit that information anyway, because they're gonna wanna go change their password anyway. So as far as the password goes, I just put their email address, like new customer, question mark, whatever for the password. You can make it up. Do the same for everyone so that you don't forget what you put for their password, and it's just easy to remember. So that's what I like to do. And then I'll build them their own cart. And then that makes it really easy for checkout, or I'll create them a virtual palette and I'll send them the palette link. So that's just really been beneficial as far as that goes. Does anybody have any other questions that they found to be really, really helpful that they've added to their questionnaire that I didn't talk about? Anybody? Don't be shy if you do. All right, let's go back to the, oh boy. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So as far as the ending, I do have one last little like thing I include on my questionnaire, and it's kind of just like an ending statement on what to expect. So for an example, this is actually mine that I have on my color match. And it says, as soon as you hit submit, you will be one of hundreds of beautiful women that I have personally color matched. Now, I don't know if you're a newer artist, you could tweak that and just say one of many, is up to you. And then it says, I've been trained specifically in this makeup and have had lots of experience to make sure that you get the right shades. I try to get recommendations back within 1 business day. Make sure to check your spam folder or follow up with me if you do not receive it within that time frame. Along with your color match, I will include a special link for you, which will ensure free shipping and a free compact with your order. Now, when I build them a cart, I always try to make sure that they get a free compact. So, you know, if they're 1 tin short from getting the hack stack, I will add like a, you know, vanilla dust or something that of course that I think they need, but I'll just add that extra one in so that when they click over, because when you actually click the link to your virtual palette and you did qualify for a free compact, there's a little pop-up that comes up that says, you've earned a free compact. So when people click on that link and they see that pop-up, it automatically is like, oh, sweet. And it's just kind of more of an incentive for them. So I always make sure the palette I build them includes a free compact. So yep, so free compact with your order. And then it says, I'm so excited to be your personal artist to help you love your makeup. Remember that Saint has an amazing 30-day guarantee to make sure that you do. So that's just an example that I have on mine to just kind of remind them that, hey, you know, I'll get back with you within 24 hours. Here's what you can expect, etc. So with that, does anybody have any questions or anything to add? I would love your feedback. If you have any questions about the questionnaire that I didn't include.
Cami, do you feel like there's like a kind of questions that it's too many questions? Like I try not to make mine too long because I feel like then they won't finish it if it's too many questions, but then I don't know if I have enough.
Now, as far as the answering goes, so I think that hold on, somebody, I'm sorry, I didn't see the chat. Oh, okay. Yes, the slides, I can share the slides. Oh my goodness, no, I can't hear you. Hold on one second. Kobe. Okay.
Did you hear my question
Kobe,
before?
are you talking?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Kobe?
I can hear you, Kobe.
What is going on?
What?
Why isn't the sound working?
Can you hear anyone,
Hold on
Cami?
a sec. My computer is not muted. No, it's
Cami, this
not.
is Kelly Gropp. Can you hear me?
Oh, hello? Talk now. Yes!
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear?
Volume was down.
Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was just genius. If any of you guys were talking to me during that, I'm so sorry. You probably thought I was ignoring you. Let's talk now. Okay, what questions do you have?
Well, so my question was, do you feel like there's like a limit to where there's too many questions on your JOT form? I mean, I guess I'm saying JOT form because I use JOT form, and I would love to ask all the questions, but then I get nervous that I'm asking too many questions and then they won't answer because it's just too much.
That's actually a really good question. So I thought about this too. So I will share mine with you if you want. So first of all, I was talking with Cami Davenport about this a few weeks ago. I'm like, how many questions is too many questions? And is it better to have all your questions on one page or where you click the arrow for each question? So here's the thing. Like I said, people can be frustrated if you're asking them all these questions, but it's only for their benefit, right? You're just trying to get all the information that you can to give them the right recommendations. But I agree, because if I were to click on somebody's color match and they had all their questions on one page and there was like 20 or whatever, a lot, then I might be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this right now. And I might click out and just exit, right? So I actually don't know how many I have on mine, but let me look. So really, that's why I think it's just a personal preference to you. Like, what do you think your followers, your customers are going to do? Are they minimalists? If they are, they might not like so many questions. But that's maybe something that you could include in your opening on your form is, hey, these questions, I've really, really tailored them to find the best recommendations for you. These are the questions I would ask if I was in person with you. But we're trying to make this easy with not a lot of back and forth. And so if we can include everything in one form and just get all the answers, then, you know. So to answer your question, I think it's a personal preference, but you might want to consider the one page. If you don't have a lot of questions, you could maybe think about putting your questionnaire all on one page. If you do have maybe more questions, then maybe consider putting them on one question per page, because then it's not so overwhelming. Do you want me to share mine with you right now? Is that something you think would be helpful? Let me see.
I think too.
I think one other thing too. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that if you have a lot of questions, it might be helpful to decide which are the most important and make those a required response, and the rest they're not required, but some people will fill them out anyway. So you'll get some of that, and then if you don't, you still got the others. And then I just want to throw out there, one of the things that I have on my questionnaire is the whole, are the veins in your wrist blue or blue-green? Trying to get a feel for their undertones, whether they're cool or warm.
Yes.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention is Kelly Snyder had a really good suggestion with, if you're going to set up an account for them, rather than asking them if it's okay, just have sort of a disclaimer on there saying, in filling out this form, you agree to, I'm going to be creating an account for you, or something like that. Just some sort of little like disclaimer so they know it's coming, but you're not really asking their permission.
Yeah.
You're just telling them.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. I forgot about the vein one. That can definitely come in handy. So that's a really good reminder. Was there somebody else?
Hi, I have a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I also feel like too with the like picture, asking for the picture, I feel like there's like a lot of like rules with, stand far back, no shadows, hair out of your face, not right out of a shower where you're all red. Like sometimes I feel like, those are all really important things for us to let them know so that we get a good picture, because, I don't know about asking so many times for a good picture, but really it's to their benefit to get a really good, clear picture. So that's another thing I kind of worry about, like having, because I have a form already all like complete, I use JOT form. And so I just really try to like not have too many requirements, but I feel like that's important to include those as well so that you get a good picture. And then my other question is, I mentioned filling out my color match form in any video that I do. If I'm talking only eyebrows or if I'm talking eyeshadow, I mention it. I cannot get people to fill out my form. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't feel like I have too many questions on my, I can't even get them to go there.
Yeah, oh, I feel you. That is so frustrating. So there's been times, and I think I told you this on Saturday, we were talking, where I like go in and I revise the form, and like every time I do that, I always say on my stories or whatever, hey, I just updated my form, like it's easier now, or whatever, you rebrand it for Saint, whatever it is, you can always mention it's new now, go check it out. But also, I don't know if any of you've done this, but I will do like from now until the end of the month, anybody that fills out the color match form will be entered into a giveaway. I don't know if you've tried that. That sometimes helps people, because it's like the people that are on the fence and like they've been meaning to fill it out, they just haven't. It kind of urges them to do that more. Those are some things I do. Do any of you guys have any suggestions for that? To get people to fill it out more. Also with COVID, like I have said that I'm done doing in-person color matches probably from now until Christmas. And so even like I'll get neighbors and stuff to fill it out. So you can always say that too, like you're not doing any in-person color matches right now. What about you guys? Is there anything else that you would suggest for her?
So one thing that I have found that helped with me is I put out a request, and I did it more so like for them to help me. And I said, you know, I have no plans this weekend. I'd really love to do some color matching. And I use it as a way for me to get better at the makeup. So if you're willing to help me out, you know, just fill out this quick form, and I'll send you the stuff. But don't worry, it's, you know, pressure free. It's really just so that I can get better at my color matching. And then people do it because they want to help you, but then once they actually see it, then I've gotten some sales from it too.
Yeah, I did that, and I've done that. I've done a giveaway for like a lip and cheek. If you know, you enter for, if you fill out my form, I'll lip and cheek of your choice or whatever. I've done that. I haven't, but neither one of those I had luck at. But I had more luck like in the beginning where it was, I would say that, where I would say, you know, I'm a new artist. I just got my kit. I want to learn the makeup. I want to learn how to color match. And I had like 15 people sign up to come to my house. This was like a year and a half ago. They signed up to come to my house and do color match. And then what I would do is I would write down the, you know, everything that I used. And I would just tell them, like, I'm just writing this down so that when, you know, if I can use your picture as a before and after, or, you know, whatever, I'm writing this stuff down so I remember what I used. And then every single time they're like, well, can I just take a picture of that? And I got a bunch of people that would order that way. So it's kind of funny because I feel like I had better luck having them come in person than I am having them. I don't know if it's they don't want to send me a picture. I mean, I'm like, this is totally judgment-free zone. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what I feel, what I'm missing, or I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I've definitely had so many people that, like, even they'll fill out the whole form and they will not include a picture because they just do not want to do the picture. And I'm like, but like, what am I supposed to do here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people, they legit just, I've even had some that are like, can you just look at my Facebook? Because I don't want to do the form because I don't want to send a picture. It's like, but that doesn't help me. So I think the picture is super intimidating for some people.
Huh. That is interesting. Well, and also with the beauty bash coming up, it could be a good incentive for you to get more color matches too, and just say, hey, do this ahead of time if you're going to be coming to the beauty bash or whatever. But yeah, the picture thing, I don't get it, because you think that you would want them to see your picture to get the best recommendations. I mean, I guess too, like if you are requiring them to include their social media, then you can go look at their pictures yourself and just say, hey, I looked at your pictures on social media. This is kind of what I found that would match you, but just keep in mind, it's not a raw picture like we normally like. Well, geez, I hope, gosh, I don't know. I hope that, and sometimes, you know what, there's ebbs and flows. Like I will not get color matches for a long time, and then all of a sudden they'll come in at once. So I don't know, it is hard though, but I do wish that I, right at the beginning, because I'm the same way, I would get so many color match requests right in the beginning, and I wish I knew back then that, you know, it wouldn't be like that all the time, because it was pretty sweet. Is there anybody else that has questions? Oh, Veronica said that she works in healthcare and research, and when they do surveys, they recommend that they have product bars so that they, oh yeah, if it's going to be more than one page, so that they know how long left that they have, so they don't get discouraged. Yeah, so Jotform, I think it says like you've answered 5 out of 15 or something with each page that they click over. But yeah, I agree. I like to see a progress too, so I know at least when it's going to be over. So that's helpful. Let me go ahead and show, keep asking questions if you want. And I am going to show you my color match. Let's see. Okay, now this is, you know, this is just mine. So don't judge if it's different than yours. It starts out with, you know, a picture of me. Let's make sure you get the right shade of this awesome makeup. I am going to go in and I'm going to kind of redo the branding, so stain and stuff. I just haven't started it yet. So look, I actually have 16 questions, which to some of you might seem a lot, but I do have mine, one per page, first and last name. Oh crap, I have to fill that. Hold on a second. Okay, we'll just do it this way. So just keep in mind they are on separate pages though. First and last name, email, make sure that they're double checking their email. I have emailed people back before and I've gotten an error that says this email doesn't exist. So make sure they're double checking that and seeing that it's correct. Oh, this is something I didn't include in my PowerPoint is have you or are you working with another artist? Again, this just gives me a feel is if somebody's wasting my time, or if I can follow up with them nicely and just say, you know, is your artist still active or no, or why are you coming to me? I want to help you, but why are you coming to me? Skin type, what are you currently using as foundation? What is your skin tone? Oh, this is another thing. What is their skin tone? I like to know how they view their skin, because I want to know, it kind of just validates, again, my choice for them. If I know that they were going into Target and they think that they're light, but they're actually more of like a medium to olive color, I think that people kind of, you know, with 3D foundation, you can actually be like 1 or 2 or even 3 highlight colors and it will work for you. But I find it funny that people, a lot of times they think they're lighter than they are, but this just kind of validates if they were going to the store, what shade they would pick out, because it kind of just helps me a little bit more. What coverage do you like? What are you hoping to add to your makeup collection at the moment? So I included these in a, what do you call this? I don't know. What do you call this? Multiple choice. Because then I'm able to list them out for them, and then they can see, because they might not just know off the top of their head what they want, but if they see it written out, they might say like, oh, you know what? I want foundation, but I also need some new brushes. And I love to learn more about their skincare, so they can mark more than one, and that just kind of helps me, again, know kind of what they're in the market for. Here's the selfie time. Like you said, Kara, you know, gosh, the pictures are the most important part. You know, we could ask them only for their pictures and at least have a good idea of what recommendations to send them back. but their picture is the most important part. So take a picture of yourself, or, you know, some people have shared some in the mag that you could go still, write out all the criteria that you want from them with makeup or without makeup. And then I actually didn't make my with makeup picture required because I'd obviously rather have the one without. But it says, you know, if you want to show me how you like to wear your makeup, scroll through your photos and upload a photo of yourself. So you know that they have them on their phone. Just upload them. Would you like your own rewards link? And I just briefly told them here what a rewards link is and does. What's your biggest concern or problem? And then where do you live, of course? How did you find my color match? And then here's the part where I kind of just told them the ending part. So that's mine. It's actually fun. It would be really fun for us all to share ours because I think it's fun to kind of look at all the different ones. But anyway, how we looking? Does anybody have any more questions? I hope that this has helped you a little bit. Like I said, within my own team, we've had a lot of discussions about it, and I feel like it's really helped us and even me kind of just refine my color match and make it more intentional. Because I think at first, you know, I just kind of put the questions on that everybody else was putting on, you know, and they weren't really things that I probably would have asked in person. So really think about, go through the process of your in-person color match, starting from when they sit down in your chair. You know, say, okay, why do you want to try this makeup? Or, you know, and all the questions we went through. And it does really help you come up with the questions that you really do need and not just you're asking for fun. Any other questions? We have about 10 more minutes, but if no one else has questions, we can finish up early. I will have this, I have been recording this, so we will upload it to our YouTube training YouTube channel that we have. Just making sure you all are aware that we do have a YouTube for the trainings. So get with your leader and she'll give you that information. Yeah, Amy said that it's really just giving yourself 30 minutes to sit down and accomplish it. They are super easy to set up. As long as you know what you want to include once you get there. I do think all of the platforms are very user-friendly. So just choose which one. There's no right one for you. The most important part is that we are getting the answers to these questions, right? So it doesn't have to look pretty. And the most important part is just the questions themselves. So don't spend too much time thinking about what platform you're going to do it on or whatnot. Oh, good. I'm glad that it's been helpful. Can you upload fonts to Jotform? Ooh, that's a good question. Does anybody know that? Can you upload like our new Saint fonts to Jotform? Let me see real quick. I'm just in my... Do you know what? I'm going to have to research that. That's such a good question. I'm kind of in Saint mode, so I've been... Amy, are you going to talk?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you can. Sorry, I'm driving. I don't think you can, but then again, honestly, it's been a while since I have done it. I've looked at it. But one thing I think is important is we don't have to have the perfect form right now, right? It's really just about like getting a form out there, and then you can always evolve and change if you need to. So one thing that I do, and I've been kind of in and out of this chat, if I'm being honest, so I'm sorry if I missed this. But I know we were talking about getting so many questions and filling out or creating accounts for people. One thing that I like to do is ask them what state they live in so that I can at least figure out, if I am figuring out or creating an account for them, I can input the state they live in so that it creates the taxes automatically a little bit. And then for everything else, for like their address, their phone number, that type of thing, I just do 11111 and 1111, and then they can go in and change that. But then I know at least their state is figured in. So
Yeah,
just wanted to throw that little.
Yeah, Thanks, Amy. I never thought about it with the taxes. That's another good reason to do that. Yeah, great idea. Thank you. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, and as far as the fonts go, that would be really nice if we could do that, but maybe it's only available for the paid version, or maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, just like Amy said, done is better than perfect. So you know what, get your form out there now, and then you can refine and critique it later down the road. Okay, are there any other questions? You guys, thanks so much for being here tonight. Share this with your team once we get it uploaded, hopefully in the next day or two, to our YouTube. And hopefully we can come back in our next training or next few trainings and do a Zoom called only on the answering part, because guess what? That actually is really important too. So maybe we'll work on that for our next training. But again, thanks for being here, you guys. Thank you so much. The Beauty Bash is next week, so make sure you are starting to advertise to your customers for that, and that you invite them to that. Your leader will have the Facebook group for you to go and do that, the link to the Facebook group. But it should be super fun. We have a lot of great lives that are going to be happening and tons of great prizes. So if you have any questions about that, then reach out to your leader. Okay, you guys, well, I'm going to end this. Thanks again for being here, and I hope it was helpful, and have a great night. Bye.